Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider, as well as lead Lakers content creator for Offside. Joined on this, well, it's a Thursday, by Harrison Fagan. I guess the nice thing you can always say about Thursday is you're almost a Friday. So, Harrison, how you holding up?
You know, not good. It's just, it's been a tough week. I just feel like we've lost a lot of people who are really beloved, and I just feel like we're just a nation in mourning. You know, I'm obviously talking about Jonathan Kuminga going to the Wolves.
A Lakers nation in mourning.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, you lose Dolly, you lose Tim Curry, and then the greatest player in August NBA history, Jonathan Kuminga, heads to Minnesota, picks Minnesota over the Lakers.
Yep.
I had a lot of Wolves fans dunking on me because I replied to our buddy Rycole a couple weeks. It was, I don't know, a week ago. I'm live reporting from Kuminga Island, and I'm like, you know, if Kuminga wants to be the first player in NBA history to pick Minnesota over Los Angeles, he is welcome to do so. And then he did.
Yeah, that happened. The bad news tends to come in threes.
Yeah.
And it's just, we'll talk about it because I think a lot is true at the same time. And when that is the case, Twitter doesn't handle that very well. So I'm going to, lay the groundwork for why I think a lot is true at the same time. We're going to talk about the Kuminga situation. We're going to talk about what the Lakers are going to do now to fill that hole at the power forward spot. I want to talk also about, the recruiting process, the reported recruiting process that went into this, where apparently the Lakers were one of their first calls at the beginning of the offseason was to Jonathan Kuminga, and then they were just like, all right, yeah, we'll talk later. We're good. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. No, don't bother calling us. We'll call you. And apparently they didn't like that very much. So we're going to, kind of discuss that. I was laughing. I was legit laughing at my phone yesterday because all of the Kuminga stuff is happening. Which one, I was laughing at the Kuminga stuff because I had just recorded an episode in which I explained why I thought this was going to.
You were very mad. Yeah. I could tell by the title you were very upset that you had spent all this time, and then it was dead. Probably 20 minutes after you recorded your mid episode upload. Yeah,
I made dinner, and then on top of it, I just didn't cook the fish very well. It turned out kind of bland, and I was kind of annoyed at myself about that. And then,
you say you didn't cook the fish very well. Bland is actually one of the better outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, nobody died. It was slightly over. Yeah. I'm really you could ask Jen. I really take my cooking seriously, and if I cook something poorly, especially if I overcook something, I really don't handle that very well. And as I'm eating this shitty salmon that I made, that it was sad. Avery scarfed her down. She's like, "Dad, you make the best salmon." And Jen's like, "I thought it was fine." And I'm just sitting there this is terrible. This is not good food.
Well, but that's this true is love. Happening, they're telling you that this bad thing is good because they want you to feel good about it. It's sort of like the people in Jonathan Kuminga's life.
and then so I get the notification, and again, this is an hour and some change after I recorded that episode, and I'm just like, okay, cool, thanks, bud. And then on top of that, also got a few texts being like, hey, You don't think it's possible how hard you were going at Kuminga and Aaron Turner played a role in this, right? I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't know.
They're like,
Maybe.
well, I was gonna. They're
I'd
like,
love to find out.
I was gonna pick LA, but then I just was like, Anthony Irwin's gonna be really mean to me the whole year. There's just a lot less Wolves podcasts. I just left the Warriors podcast ecosystem. He's making his free agency decision based on like he was looking. Is there a Sam Esfandiari and Andy Liu in Los Angeles? And he's like, you know what? That's too close.
So I get those texts, I laugh at those, and then as I'm like laughing at the ridiculousness of all of this, right? We get word like maybe a couple hours later that Jeanie Buss is filed a lawsuit against her siblings, and I'm just like, come on! Like, I'm so annoyed by everything that I was like thinking about going going live on the show yesterday, and I was like, I am in no state of mind to talk to people. So instead, I waited. I waited to talk to you, and I know how good you are at poking and prodding me into these rants and stuff. So today's show is going to be, I think, one for the history books. A reminder, though, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please turn on notifications for the show and for YouTube so you get those notifications to the show. Today's show is brought to you on here on YouTube by Prize Picks. Use that promo code HMA and get $150 worth of free Prize Picks lineups when you sign up, and use that code and win a $5 lineup of your own. And then finally, a reminder also to subscribe to the show wherever you get it in podcast form, preferably on Odyssey, but anywhere you get it is perfectly fine by me. So, all right, let's set the table here, and I want to explain why I think several things are true at the same time. One, not getting Jonathan Kuminga is not like devastating news, and
Disagree.
Honestly, part of me agrees with some of the people here, like Neil, who was saying we dodged a bullet. Lakers podcasters were the only ones who loved Kuminga. I don't think that is true. Like it's like I think there's part of me who thinks that this guy has his priorities set in all the wrong places, and I don't think it would have worked out. Like there's a real possibility that he signs with the Lakers and guns for his numbers, and eventually JJ Redick, just like Quinn Snyder, just like Steve Kerr, gets so sick of Jonathan Kuminga that the Lakers, who would at that point be locked into a 3-year deal, would have been like, all right, enough. Let's just not do this. I also think while that is true, I also think it's fair to point out that it is a failure on the part of the front office that they weren't able to recruit Jonathan Kuminga when they were offering more money and more minutes, a larger role within the Lakers rotation. Like,
were they for sure? I mean, the Wolves also have a starting power forward slot. I mean, they were offering the more money. I don't dispute. They were offering more money. It seems as though, and they probably could have offered even more if they had wanted to. I actually sort of respect them holding the line and not, because we would have criticized them if they would have, just sweetened their offer, just to get him. And we would have been sitting here saying, well, who else was bidding? Nobody else could bid that much. And they would have known that they did it because he was about to sign with the Wolves for less. But, it is a little bit, I want to be fair here. And like, it is, if we're going to criticize them for this, they were a little bit damned if they did, damned if they didn't.
I mean, they always are though, right? Like, because I get that a lot in the comments here, where people will say, like, if the Lakers had done the thing that I prefer that they do instead, I would have criticized them for doing that other thing anyway, and like the thing is, fuck the criticism, fuck the analysis, fuck us podcasters. Like, who cares? Stand by, like, if you really feel like this.
No, I agree. I'm not saying they should care about this. I'm just saying if we're being fair.
Well, maybe, I don't know. But the reason I say that a larger role was in play for the Lakers than for Minnesota is because Minnesota has a very clear top 5 priorities on their roster, right? You have LaMelo Ball, you have Anthony Edwards, you have Rudy Gobert. Those 3 slots are set in stone. You also have Jaden McDaniels, another guy whose spot is set in stone. And then on top of that, they signed Ayo Dosunmu this year to a 5-year, $112 million contract. And I think they're going to try to find as frequently as they can ways to get all 5 of those guys on the court at the same time. And that's going to be their top priority. And this is where another thing that is true comes into play. I think Aaron Turner is bad at his job. I think Jonathan Kuminga is a moron. Like, I think like both of those things, or at least, makes his decisions with his career in a way a moron would. Like, I think like that can also be true, right? So to a certain extent, if you really want to be fair, as a retort to criticism of the Lakers front office, what can the Lakers do if somebody just makes a stupid decision, right? And that's why I think, like, taking a 1-and-1 deal, like what incentive do the Minnesota Timberwolves have to invest long-term in a guy who is looking to cash in? The reason he signed with them is because he can be a free agent again. And so like there's a very real possibility here that he's going to be traded this upcoming season, or, Kuminga watch is only going to continue. So, like, I think with all of those things being true at the same time, I also think that the Lakers can benefit from greater intel. This has been a trend from throughout Rob Pelinka's tenure. And I think it continued here again. But yeah, like I think overall, with all of those things being true at the same time, it was funny. Yesterday, I saw Lakers Nation tweeted out, and no offense to Lakers Nation, I have no ill will here, but I chuckled at them tweeting out a Kobe quote.
It's my former employer, so
Yeah, well, I'll be nice, but I saw that
I had like a Dwight Howard 2020 stint there. I was there for 9 months. It was a good 9 months.
But like, I saw they tweeted out that Kobe, and I saw that Kobe clip where he gives this quote.
I saw that in the comment as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was like, if you don't want to be a Laker, then the Lakers don't want you. And it's like, it's cool that like, that is just auto cope. As soon as anything happens that, that like somebody makes a decision that you don't like, you can be like, well, fuck you too then, and it's like, all right, let's all back up a little bit. Let's analyze this situation for what it actually is. So of all of the things that I think is true at the same time, Harrison, what catches your attention first?
Well, I actually, it's funny. I wasn't going to take us down this tangent when I saw somebody put that Kobe quote in the comments, but I do actually think that it's sort of like, I've always found that quote sort of amusing, because it's like, I think he said something along the lines of, like, if you don't want to, like, if I have to recruit you, you're not right for this anyway. Like, you don't want to be here. Like, if you have to be recruited to this, like, you're not right for this. Like, you should want this. And it's like, well, like, in fairness, Kobe never was getting recruited at less than the max. So, it's not like there was like a whole lot of recruitment that had to happen. That, like, I understand what he's saying, and like, it's a nice quote, and like, it's a good soundbite. But, there is recruiting that has to happen for those guys that have multiple below what they feel like their market should be offers. It's not just a guarantee of like, hey, if this guy wants to win, they come to LA. As far as like all of the things about Kuminga, like I'm with you on like dropping the bit for a second. Like I think there's absolutely a chance that this goes horribly in Minnesota, and you have to leave that on the table, because it's gone pretty horribly. It's gone like, bottom 20 percentile outcomes for him just about everywhere he's gone. And so, you have to, and that was always on the table for the Lakers too. And so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like if the Lakers signed him, it would have been guaranteed to work. A part of my case was, I know that this could go horribly, but I still think that the chance of it going well is, it's like a better, moonshot than you have available to you otherwise. There wasn't a better, it's not like I'm sitting here saying, man, I just really think the continuity of Jake LaRavia is really what the Lakers need. Like they need a bought-in Jake LaRavia who wants to be here. And that is going to for sure be better than Jonathan Kuminga. It could be, but it's like I think Kuminga has a bigger path to upside than that does, or than Mamu starting does. It's like the options get pretty thin after that point. It's like, do we talk ourselves into Vando for the starting job again? He's really good. He's best friends with Luka. It's like, the reason that Kuminga was so appealing was just because there was like a 10% chance it went really, really well. And it was the exact perfect situation for him, playing off of Luka. Easiest role of his career, but he still gets to handle the ball a little bit. He still gets to cook a little bit. He gets a big role, a bigger role than he would have been guaranteed in his previous stops. And maybe that's just what he needed to finally flourish. And maybe that'll be the case in Minnesota. But it was never, I want Jonathan Kuminga because I think this is for sure going to work out. It was, I want Jonathan Kuminga because this is a long shot of working out that is better than like the 94-footer the Lakers are otherwise attempting.
Yeah, I look at it like right now we're nearing the end of the week, so like the options in the refrigerator to make lunch aren't great. And today, like I had just gotten home from a couple of errands, and I was like, oh, I'll just see what's in the fridge to make for lunch. And I didn't really find anything that I wanted to make for lunch, so I was like, well, how much time do I have? I guess I can make it to Panda Express and back. I'm really not pumped about Panda Express, but like I need to eat something. And I feel like Kuminga was like, Panda Express here, where it was just like.
Can I actually make a better analogy?
Sure.
For what the Lakers are left with, you ordered Panda Express. That is actually, I think, a more apt comparison to the Jonathan Kuminga option. It's like that, I've had Panda Express many a times in my life, and many a times it's went wrong. It's not turned out like I hoped it would when it settled in my stomach. But last night, Mia was at doing like an improv show, and so I was alone for dinner. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like make stuff out of the freezer or whatever. I did not realize that I thought that she had went grocery shopping more recently than she had, and so last night for dinner, I was sort of dug in. It was like, do I want to order Uber Eats? Like, no, that feels like a waste of money for one person.
Yeah, I haven't ordered Uber Eats in forever. It's so expensive.
I'm just gonna do my best with what we got, and I'm going to make a veggie patty, rice, some orange chicken marinade, and saltine crackers, and that is my dinner. And that's sort of what I feel like the Lakers power forward situation is left with.
Now,
Jake LaRavia is obviously the saltine crackers.
Well, no, it's like I think Uber.
They were unsalted too, so it's an even more perfect comparison.
It's like zero flavor whatsoever.
Well, they're good for your stomach. It's like I have some stomach issues, so it's good to have saltines in the house. I don't want to be like I don't want to be mainlining salt. It's like I get the unsalted ones, but yeah, it was not the greatest dinner I've ever had.
Yeah, but like that is like I saw now like the accounts that are just like stand whatever the Lakers do. I guess they're now calling the assortment of misfits as the committee, like the power forward by committee. And it's like, what are we doing, dude? Like, what championship contender or team that is close to championship contention goes into a season with a power forward by committee? It doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, usually when people are like, "Oh, we're going to get our bench by committee," that's already bad news.
Yeah,
much less if you're going to get like a star. It's like the bench is going to have a point guard by committee. That's always a sign that it's like, oh, this bench unit is not going to work.
Remember the mud unit? Remember like the mud unit from the
misunderstood, underappreciated, and I don't remember what the D stood for.
It was just dogs, right? Wasn't it dogs?
I feel like it was dumber than that. I'm going to look this up. You go ahead and make your point.
But like, yeah, I think that, like, you know, to your point and to my point, whether it's Panda Express, which was like the Jonathan Kuminga option, or whether it's the, you know, that meal sounded so depressing, is the current state of the Lakers power forward situation. Like, the combination of those two analogies winds up being kind of the perfect analogy here, where there wasn't like a good choice. And again, Harrison, this is an offseason that we were told to wait. What was it, like 4 transaction cycles for? They kept their powder dry for,
well,
like,
this is always what you were
cycles?
This is always what you were concerned about. When they were sort of saying, like, we're gonna get all this done in one off season. It's like that's a lot of holes to fill in one off season.
Yeah. And it's
you know,
like,
sure enough, they filled almost all of them,
as anybody would have predicted,
yeah.
right? Who like pays any attention to the NBA economy at all. Like, it's really difficult to go into an offseason and say, all right, we're gonna find 3 playoff caliber starters as well as their bench unit all in the one offseason. That was always insane. And that was always what we were sold. And now it's like, all right, well, just wait till next year. And it's like, no, man, we waited for the LeBron and AD era. We waited for the beginning of the Luka era. We waited for an offseason, or we waited out a season where you had LeBron still playing at a high level and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves on a discount. Like, we waited all this time, and the thing that we finally arrive at after all of that waiting is, man, we sure hope Jonathan Kuminga picks us, you know? And like congrats, man, you overpaid for Walker Kessler. Congrats, you overpaid for Quentin Grimes. Congrats, you overpaid for Mamu, who can't even start. He should not be the starter on this team. And you know, you didn't think when you were signing Mamu that maybe, just maybe, some of those resources should go to a guy who would actually start, can actually start? That didn't cross your mind? Kuminga was apparently the first conversation, or one of the first conversations they had in the offseason. If you're going to have that conversation and he would be your starter anyway, why not lock in the starter? Yeah. By the way, as this is all going on, I don't think Rui has missed a shot against South Korea so far.
I think they told Mamu is such an analytics nerd, darling, that, like, I'm convinced that was the Rob telling the assistant GM, he's like, okay, you get to pick one guy. All right. Where you can offer him this salary slot, you get to pick one guy. And that was that was the analytics contribution, was Mamu. Can I also remind, for anyone who was not around for the beautiful 2018-19 Los Angeles Lakers season, Mud was a nickname. I went back and I found a story on this from our old friend Christian Rivas. Mud, or misunderstood, underappreciated, and determined, was the name LeBron James gave the 4-man unit of Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Michael Beasley, and Rajon Rondo.
So I guess the lesson here is it could be worse.
Is this Mud 2? Should we get that going? These guys are just misunderstood, underappreciated, and determined.
Yeah. I'm going to miss, like, that aspect of LeBron being on the team.
Oh, it's like by far one of the things I'm going to miss most is LeBron's earnest corniness.
Like, unintentionally the funniest person in the
he's so good
in the NBA. And he's like not at all funny when he tries to be, but like when he's not trying to be funny, it's genuinely hilarious.
No, if any of you are looking like me, you're looking for like August podcasts to listen to on your walks and stuff. The Ball episode on the LeBron meme moments draft that Trill did with Lakers fan and comedian Danny Goodwin, all time. It's incredible to celebrate the LeBron signing and let Sixers fans know about my personal favorite LeBron moment will always be when he posted that selfie where he looks like he's being taken hostage with Bryce and Bronny in the background. And it just says, up early watching a little Tom and Jerry. And I'm still disappointed that him and Bronny did not recreate that at some point while on the Lakers. That was all I wanted from the LeBron Bronny thing was from the road one day in the hotel, up a little early, watching some Tom and Jerry.
You know that cartoon is like 3 times older than Bronny?
It's probably 3 times older than LeBron. Well, maybe 2 times older. Probably not 3.
So yeah, I think that I'm not necessarily upset or angry about missing out on Kuminga specifically. As I've always said throughout this entire stupid ordeal, that like I'm annoyed that we found ourselves in a situation where so much was riding on landing Jonathan Kuminga. And now look, like they're going to pivot and they're going to try to do whatever they can with the 2 second-round picks that they turned DeAndre Ayton into. You kind of sort of have to turn those things into something because like otherwise Kevon Looney being your primary backup after you traded away DeAndre Ayton and let Jackson Hayes walk, like isn't I don't know. I just don't love this.
And apparently, you know, I mean, I don't reading between the lines, like it's not hard to guess that they traded DeAndre Ayton because as a favor to go to a place where he would have a potentially bigger role as a favor to Luka's agent.
Yeah. Which sure, I don't know that he necessarily would have a bigger role in Washington than he would just have being the primary backup with the Lakers. I'm not sure he's going to start in Washington.
He probably will.
Maybe. I mean,
AD's going to want him to start, and they're like, AD wants him to start, and they're desperate to get AD to like show up to the building. So I think like they're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that like, and people keep on saying Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore like barely played last year. Like I like Cam Whitmore and stuff, and he's an intriguing player. I think he's he's an iteration of Jonathan Kuminga in some ways, but I don't know. And like, look, I want to sit here and say that things are gonna be okay, but I just don't necessarily feel that way. Like the problem is,
I think your problem is that things are going to be okay. They're not going to be great.
Yeah. Like it's exactly. I think the Lakers should be fine, but in order to like make all of that waiting and keeping that powder dry and running LeBron out of the city, just for the sake of the flexibility that they had this year and arrive at fine. Like, I don't know. I remember what ride was it that came out and I waited for, Superman. Remember the Superman ride at Six Flags?
I mean, I'm familiar with the concept. I've never been on it because I'm a scaredy cat. And so I've never been to Six
you don't
Flags.
Like roller coasters. Okay.
No.
Well, all right. Well, this Superman's like one of my favorite, maybe my actual favorite comic book character. And so like when that ride launched, I was like, I bought a ticket. I was there that first day, waited forever to go on it, rode it, and you find out it's literally just, and that's it. Like it's 10 seconds of a scene. And it's like, it's fun to go that high and you do feel weightless up there at the top. You see Superman standing up above you and stuff. And it's okay. But like to wait all that time and then walk out of it with just like a fine roller coaster ride. It's just that the letdown is I think what I've been most annoyed by is how are you going to waste all of the transaction cycles that you did and arrive here at an off season where coming out of it, Jake LaRavia is your saltine cracker, dinner substitute. Like it's just
saltine cracker dinner base.
Right. Yeah. It's just not, that can't be something that Lakers fans are okay with. And and it's like, I know that there's this like demanded positivity, especially on Twitter, where everybody is expected to just say, all right, well, if you criticize them, stay on that side, and if you aren't positive at every single turn, then you aren't a true Laker fan and stuff. And it's just like, why are we not allowed to use our brains? Like, why are we not allowed to look at the reality of the situation and come to the conclusion that the Lakers might be wasting the prime years of one of the most talented basketball players we'll ever see? Like, that sucks, dude. And now it's happened, it could potentially happen twice, because they wrote out the final years of LeBron, and now they're telling us to just wait for another transaction cycle to get a starting power forward with Luka, and they don't have enough to acquire that starting caliber power forward.
That sort of thing is wait with what path to one. It's one thing if you're telling us, like, I know you disagreed with the just wait until 2026, just wait until summer of 2026. That's what they're targeting. Like, you had problems with that, but at least that plan, it was like, okay, they're gonna have a bunch of cap space. They're gonna have a bunch of they're gonna have movable contracts. Like, they're gonna have draft picks that they're able to use, and they're gonna be able to, like, they're tangible things and reasons to wait until 2026. Versus, like, now it's like, wait another transaction cycle, and it's sort of like, wait another transaction cycle for what? For them to use what on what? That's what I'm not seeing, unless they're sort of saying, wait for us to trade Austin Reeves and picks for another star alongside Luka, but that's clearly not what they're saying. Yeah, exactly. You would have to wait at least probably a year to be able to have
another first that you could maybe use.
Yeah.
Yeah, let alone the
and that's not that good of a plan. You're like, hey, be happy with this roster now, but also we're just wait until we trade Austin, then we're really cooking.
Yeah. And like, look, it might just happen. I would love it for this to be the case, that like we come back and we look at this at this episode and we laugh at you and me.
I think this team's still going to be good. I think that they have potential to be a top 4 seed in the West.
Fine. I think they'll be fine. I think really concerned about
the problem is playoffs. I that's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about the regular season. I think they're going to be a really good regular season team. My point has continued to be, I'm just not sure how many 16 game players they have on this roster aside from Luka. Now, maybe he turns them all into 16 game players. I was on ESPN LA with Mike Trudell and Geeter the other day, and Mike was making the point that it's like, how many of those guys on that Mavs team that Luka took to the finals would you have considered for sure 16 game players going into that postseason run? And it's like, Kyrie, for sure, like Kyrie would have been on that list. But after that, it's sort of like, I don't know. About like a lot of these guys are unproven, and Luka just made the game so much easier on them that they were able to show that they could be 16 game players. And so if that's the path for the Lakers, then maybe they can do that. And maybe Luka's that good, but I still have, I still have questions until we see that.
But you also have to exit all of this waiting, all of this kicking of the can with more than the hope that maybe, just maybe, Luka turns these players into the players that we were told the Lakers were going to acquire this offseason after waiting so long to get here. And again, this isn't, but if just Luka because
can turn them into, then all this is moot. If Luka can turn them into those guys, then all this is moot. But I have questions. I have major questions about whether or not that's possible.
Yeah, but I would like to have fewer questions. Like, that's my point, is that like you can't make us wait this long to arrive here and exit the offseason with this many questions. Again, Harrison, Walker Kessler's coming off of a season where he played 5 games. He has these very legitimate concerns about his ability to stay healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, his backup is Kevon Looney or Mamu playing out of position. Yeah. Like, that's not ideal.
Well, Mamu sort of is a center. He's just not a good defensive center at all. He's actually a horrible defensive center.
And then like you had Quentin Grimes, who has they're hoping slots up on this roster and plays above what he has been in on these other teams. And if the hope there is that Luka's just like, can we get somebody who makes Luka better without it always needing to be the other way around? Like, who on this team makes Luka a better basketball player?
I would argue probably Kessler makes his life easier. And I would say that, does Luka want that? Does Luka want to do the off-ball things that, to make things easy? It's like this is sort of, this is for all the GM talk over the years that LeBron was here. This is very much a Luka constructed team, it seems like. And so if that works, then great. He deserves credit. But if that doesn't work, then he deserves as much criticism, as maybe not as much. It seems like he's maybe not as direct about this stuff, but he seems to have recruited a lot of these guys and sort of been involved in choosing like Luka style players and guys that he wanted to play with. And, that can go really well. And, sometimes player GMs do not go well.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too much more or any more time really talking about Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think it's going to go well in Minnesota. So congrats to them, but
that team has major explosion potential for good and bad. Like I could see that team being like a fun, they have incredible chemistry. It's just a bunch of guys that all love each other and they play really well together. And it just it turns out that somehow Kuminga, Ant, and LaMelo are best friends. And Rudy is sort of Rudy's their Walker Kessler, he's sort of back there and tying everything together defensively. And you just have this camaraderie of this amazing team of knuckleheads that all just sort of gel together. But it also has the potential where it's does LaMelo know what snow tires are?
I think LaMelo already said he hired a driver. That was
that's so funny. Is it Jonathan Kuminga? Pablo Torre needs to look into this.
Let's move
Jonathan
on
Kuminga's
to
making
the
back
second
salary.
story.
He's Ubering LaMelo back from games.
I saw Gilbert Arenas was out there saying dude, I could have offered you a bigger contract to work for me. It's dang, how much money is Gilbert's podcast making?
Also, Gilbert is a psycho. That's just it's you just because you're right doesn't mean you have to say it. That's me. We don't need to celebrate this guy fumbling generational wealth 2 summers in a row. It's
well, but tough. if you don't fire the agent,
this is the same man who went to Nick Young's house after the Iggy Azalea thing and just hopped his fence and started terrorizing his son. And so Gilbert, not that great of a guy, probably.
No, that's for sure. But the whole thing about the fumbling the bag thing, if my agent screws that up once and then returns to the same pattern of behavior, I don't give him another. He hasn't fired him yet. I don't believe.
Aaron Turner has seen the golden path, Anthony. It's 2 make good contracts in a row, and then in free agency, summer of 2027. Lakers max contract.
I don't know how many players have ever gone from a $6 million deal to 24, without being a draft pick, right? I don't think there are very many free agents who have signed deals that de-escalated the ways that Kuminga have and then rebounded to max contract eventually.
Sometimes you just got to take prove it deal after prove it deal, and then eventually you prove it.
It was what's the line? It was whether or not, gosh darn it, it's one of those Nike commercial quotes where it was whether or not you could say I can do this. And or I'm gonna do this or whatever, and either way you're gonna be right. but I forget what I forget what the actual quote is.
You really
Whatever.
nailed it there. I'm inspired.
Yeah, I freaking killed it on that one.
I want to buy some Nikes right now. Somebody clip that. Just like put it over like sweaty like LeBron workout footage and alone in a gym in black and white. I'm buying those Nikes, you know.
Would you believe I didn't last as a coach? Like,
guys, you know, sometimes it's like that Nike commercial where they just say like, you know, it's like that one where you just got to do it. I think it's something like that. You just got to go out there and like, you got to be inspired.
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. Okay. All right. So this is from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So there. Done. Boom.
That's not true. There have been lots of times where I thought I could and I could not. So,
yeah.
Also, Henry Ford did not right about everything. I'll just say, you know,
very, very many things.
Had some bad takes in his time.
So I see people are using Malik Monk as the exception that I think proves the rule. That like, congrats.
The fact that everyone is naming the same player is like, this doesn't happen that often.
And also that guy is somebody that his team is currently trying to trade because that contract is a bad one for his team. So you want that contract, that type of contract on your books? Probably not. Let's talk about another contract that is, driving, more traffic and all this stuff. But Jeanie Buss is filed a lawsuit against her siblings, which is apparently arguing again, by the way, which is now arguing that they are not allowed to sell, and she is trying to remove them from the trust altogether, and also suing for damages.
She's actually using, I believe the legal term is the daddy's favorite clause of the trust.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, Harrison, and I was I've been thinking about this one a lot because I said on the show a little while back that if you look back at Jeanie Buss's behavior dating back to when Jim was in charge, and this was a conversation I had with somebody, a well-placed voice and stuff, but if you look back at Jeanie Buss's behavior back all the way to when Jim was in charge, it's very easy to paint a picture where she has never cared what is actually best for the Lakers. What she's prioritized more is that she is calling the shots. And
I disagree only in the sense I think that she has cared about what's best for the Lakers as long as it does not interfere with her calling the shots.
Right, but that is still on her terms, which tells me like the top priority is that it is on her terms and that she is calling the shot.
100%.
And not just her, by the way, like or not her and her family, but like her and her friends has been her top priority all along. And because like you go back to the Jim Buss era, and I'm not here to stand for Jim Buss. I don't think there are any winners in this Buss sibling saga. I it comes off to me as, spoiled children arguing over who daddy liked most. And and so, but like if you go back to the Jim Buss era and remember it's hard to forget them, but the Mozgov and Deng contracts, right? Those get signed, those get offered, and they derail the Lakers for basically the extent of the time that they were on the books, right? And eventually the Lakers have to attach D'Angelo Russell to Mozgov to get off of his money. And then Luol Deng like barely ever played for the Lakers. It was two disaster signings at a time when the Lakers were going to have almost unheard of amounts of financial flexibility with the cap. And they were just and they were immediately known to be disaster signings. Like everybody paying any kind of attention whatsoever knew that those were going to be disasters. And I had somebody ask me this the other day. Eventually, Jeanie stepped in and stopped Jim from trading for DeMarcus Cousins, remember?
Yeah, with the young guys for DMC.
Yeah, and you know, and eventually that was kind of like the final straw before she decided to fire Jim, because he was not going to make the playoffs, and that was the qualifier that he presented for himself. It was the knife that he handed Jeanie to stab him with, and I had somebody ask me this, and they asked if she could step in with DeMarcus Cousins, why didn't she step in with Mozgov and Deng? If the point of this was to stop Jim Buss from doing something that would tangibly harm the Lakers and hurt their ability to compete, then why not step in when those signings were made, right? And the argument that this person made to me was she wanted those guys to fail. Then eventually when Jim failed, she could take over.
Yeah, you know, to extend, you know, your knife analogy. I mean, she was, you know, in terms of her finding ways to kill Jim Buss, like, you know, she was giving him just enough rope to hang himself with.
Yeah. So you fast forward from there, and what are the first things that Jeanie does after she takes over? Magic Johnson, close personal friend. Rob Pelinka, close personal friend. Kurt and Linda get promotions. Like, it's her group of friends.
No, Kurt got hired. Kurt was not with the team. Remember,
right.
He got brought on as a quote senior Lakers senior advisor. I think that's remained his title for pretty much the whole time. But he got brought in. I believe it was the first season of Magic and Pelinka, if I remember correctly, as a senior advisor. He was not on payroll before that, because he had went to go be like head coach of the Timberwolves, and then he was with the Knicks as an assistant under Derek Fisher, and then he was interim head coach, and he was trying to get the job, and Phil ended up giving it to
I think he was the head of Knicks cybersecurity, right? At one point, was that? All right. So Jeanie like hires or promotes all of her close personal friends, and again, if your stance through all of this is I am doing what is best for the Lakers, is that what was best for the Lakers? She probably
sincerely thought so.
Okay, but objectively speaking, probably not.
Yeah,
it is not. And then Magic Johnson steps aside to focus on tweeting, and again, Jeanie is presented the opportunity to open the organization to more professional human beings, and again elected to promote Rob, promote her close personal friends, and maintain the status quo of not only is it only her that is calling the shots at the very, very top of the organization, but the people that are surrounding her are only the close personal friends of hers that she truly cares about. And like that was at a time where, you know, I've reported this and it's been confirmed, and more names have been, but like, you know, Bob Myers was interested in the job. Masai Ujiri was interested in the job. At one point, I think R.C. Buford from the Spurs had shown a little bit of interest there. And like there were some heavy hitters that the Lakers could have hired. And again, at you know, this person who continues to tell us that all she cares about is what is best for the Lakers, elected not to hire people who would have been better for the Lakers than the people that she surrounded herself with. And again, if you're arguing, and her argument now is fiduciary responsibility to her siblings, right? She's saying that they have a responsibility to keep her in place. And because it's what's all she cares about is what is best for the Lakers. And somehow also that like her dad only wanted her to run the team, which is just not true. Like the first person he entrusted the team to is Jim, not Jeanie. Jim. He was a sexist man, so you could kind of see how that kind of played out. But still, That was his first choice. His primary choice was that. And
actually, I believe
even
he
then,
tried to have Johnny do it first. Very briefly. It did not. Johnny did not take to the executive life. He was too busy preparing for a presidential run.
Conroy. And so like again, her arguments just don't stand up to me, right? This stance that she understands and cares about what is best for the Lakers, when in reality, her top priority throughout all of this, and it's continuing on to her actions now, has only ever been, I want to be in power because daddy told me I should. And it's just like, that's not even necessarily true. I was talking to people, and the plan originally was for Jim to take over, retire after a few years. Jeanie then handles the business side of things. While Jim was in charge of the basketball stuff, Jesse and Joey were supposed to climb up the ranks of the basketball side of things, and eventually Jeanie would run the business, and the Joey and Jesse were supposed to run the basketball side of things. And like Dr. Buss always said, he wanted his kids to run the Lakers.
Yeah.
Not his
That's
kid.
why they're all trapped together in this trust.
Right. And he always said he wanted all of them involved. So this notion that Jeanie is arguing that her siblings have a fiduciary responsibility to maintain her place at the top of the organization simply because it was what her dad wanted, or their dad wanted, it's just not true. And again, she's arguing this because she says it's what's best for the Lakers, or all she cares about is what's best for the Lakers. And I just don't think in her heart of hearts that is actually true.
I certainly don't think that it's all she cares about. I think that she does care about it. I do believe her when she says that the Lakers are she's only doing this because she believes that it is like what's best for the Lakers. I just think that she's wrong, and I think that it's like a little bit of trying to posthumously prove that, she was always the one that her dad intended to be in charge. And she wants the courts to uphold that and say that it was the case. And she wants to continue to and also again, I think a lot of this is just the shame of being outmaneuvered by this sort of clown car of siblings that you have successfully kicked off the cliff again and again and again.
She considers a clown car.
Well, I mean, history would say, yeah, I mean, history would say that it's sort of it's like the siblings, I think the one thing that we can say for sure about Jeanie is that she is much better at politics than her siblings are. They all continually presented her with easy ways to shank them. And I think that she thought that she had sort of gotten the last knife in, and she had done, and she was on the throne, and she had won, and it was over. Mm-hmm. And with the Walter sale, and it's like, you're all out. I get to run this thing on my terms. I get my 5-year retirement tour, and then I get to retire and say that it was my decision, and I ushered the Lakers into the next era, and it was just me, finally at the top, just like Dad intended. And, I don't think that she anticipated the possibility of Walter selling in a year. And, again, my theory remains that Iger and Kushner probably went to the Buss siblings and were like, hey, how would you like to get one last knife in for the woman that has fired literally all of you at one point? And they said, yeah, for a couple $100 million, that sounds great. And they, they use this tag along provision. And I just think that a lot of this is the shame of finally, after years of winning battle after battle after battle, fending off coup after coup after coup, that she finally lost is why she is fighting so hard to actually know they did not win this time.
Well, and I think also, by the way, this court date is for November. Training camp start in a few weeks, and you're going to have this.
This isn't going to affect the team all that much now.
Well, but we don't know who's running it.
I think the soonest it could affect the team realistically is the trade deadline. If Rob is going and saying, I need to make a move, who is he going to right now? We don't we just don't know. And we don't know how much power that person is going to have. And we don't know where the NBA is going to sort of be looking at all of this and whatever. But I think the soonest this is going to affect anything, it's like probably like closer to February.
Well, yes and no. Like in ways that you and I would feel it, you're probably correct. I do think that like just not necessarily knowing who's in charge is probably not great, because like technically speaking, Harrison, Mark Walter still is the majority owner of this, like. And
I don't think Rob is going to Mark Walter. I'm willing to make that prediction. I think if he decides he's going to make a trade, I don't think he's going to Mark Walter. He could. Yeah.
But it's funny because like I was talking, so the owners meetings, the next owners meetings are in September. And that is when unless I don't think they can, but like unless they call some emergency owners meeting to get Iger and Kushner in just because Walter so desperately needs his money that they like hustle this thing along.
Yeah, I think Adam Silver is really going to be like, hey, I want to do this guy a favor. Let's rush this for my good buddy Mark Walter. I love Mark.
Yeah. But the court hearing is in November. The next owners meetings are in September. That is when the owners would vote on Iger and Kushner. But it's hard to vote on Iger and Kushner when you don't necessarily know how much of the team they're going to own, and like
I don't know that it matters because either way they're going to own a majority share. So you're approving, you're still largely approving. Are they going to be the new majority owners of the Lakers? Same as with Mark Walter when it's like Jeanie had the enough percentage to remain official team mascot, and now it's just yeah.
Well, no, but like all right, so Walter sold initially just his share to Iger and Kushner. And then later, the Buss siblings sold their shares to Iger and Kushner.
Well, they voted to, and we'll see if that stands up. But
we'll see if it happens.
Use the tag-along provision to say, hey, we can join. We have this legal right to join any sale that Mark Walter makes at that valuation.
Right. But Jeanie, under the first sale, would still have enough shares to remain on as governor. And so because of that, we don't know who and like, I guess the intent, I think Shams reported that Iger or Kushner is supposed to be the controlling owner because I guess he's going to have more shares in this than Iger. And then Iger is going to be kind of more in charge of the day-to-day, but Kushner will actually represent the team in governors meetings or whatever. That is already sorted out among Iger and Kushner. Would tell me what way they're hoping this newest case goes.
And the fact that Iger is such good friends with Adam Silver, and apparently so is Kushner, I just think that at the owners meeting, that's when I'm really looking for, like, I think Adam Silver is going to just tell Jeanie, like, hey, it's over. It's you gotta drop this. It's done. And, she's always tried to sell herself as like a good league partner. I think that if it's presented to her that all the other owners are like, hey, hang it up, it's done, I think she might.
We'll see. Because
if they give her an out that lets her save face, I think she might.
Yeah. Maybe they'll present her some kind of fake title.
Hey,
or something
Iger and
like
Kushner are willing to hire you as president of the Lakers.
Yeah. They're willing to sell you 1% in the Lakers so you can continue to be an owner of the Lakers. You now have plenty of cash to buy it.
They're going to make you president of business operations.
Sure. I don't think they would.
Yeah.
That's pretty high up there.
Well,
but I guess Linda Rambis is chief of staff, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, chief of what staff though? I don't know. Like it's like I don't know what that means.
But this is my point. Like this is like the crux of my argument has always been what is best for the Lakers. Is it what's best for the Lakers to have this court case hanging over the team going into the beginning of the season?
Of course not. She's being a hypocrite.
Yeah. That's all. That's
been obvious.
That's the point
that's
that
been
I
obvious
wanted to
from
make.
the second that she started, that her and her siblings, began this latest battle. is,
Yeah.
it's just like she is now that in almost every case before where she had a battle with her siblings, you could argue that she was in the right and she actually was doing what she thought was best for the Lakers. There's no way to position
And what was
this as
actually
what's
best for the Lakers? Like,
yeah,
she was doing what was actually best for the Lakers, right? Like wrestling the
you
team
could at
away
least
from
make
Jim
the
Buss
argument,
was
even if
actually best for the Lakers.
Yeah.
But now it isn't, right?
Yeah.
And like
it's clearly
like
not.
we could go back to the sale with Mark Walter, where her argument was that she negotiated off to the side this 5-year window with Mark Walter. That 5-year window was not what was best for the Lakers. Like we could obviously point out the fact that he bought the Lakers with funny money or whatever, but like if Mark Walter was given free reign to immediately clean house and Dodgerify the Lakers would be in a better spot right now than they are currently, and like
maybe
I think so. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Now that we know everything that's going on with his empire, it might have actually ended up being good that Jeanie was a buffer. Obviously, that was not her intent, and she didn't know about any of this. But I do like. I don't know that you want him having brought in more Mark Walter guys at this point, making these decisions, and then he immediately has to like flip the team.
Yeah. I mean,
does Lon Rosen know which building his office is in right now?
What's that?
Does Lon Rosen know which building his office is in right now? Like he was transferred from the Dodgers to the Lakers, but then now like his boss is trying to avoid federal prison, and so it's like, wait, what? Who am I reporting to? What am I doing? Do I still care about the Lakers? I don't know. Like Mark can't take his phone calls because his phones keep getting seized. It's gonna
be Lon Rosen's gonna be visiting Mark Walter in rich people jail, and they're gonna put their hands up on the glass.
Through the payphone. Mark, what do you think about the latest layoffs?
I think I saw some super comments over up ahead. So up. Yeah, we did. So let me get to that after we play the most important sound on the show. All right. So the question came in from Laker Dodger Guy 23, who writes, Rob operates like a GM for the Wizards or the Nets. He shouldn't need to overpay and give player options for free agents to join the Lakers. It's GM malpractice. Yeah, I just don't really understand where he tries to like outplay his leverage whenever he negotiate. Well, like all year, Harrison, I was told that Austin was going to get his max. It was like understood internally that Austin was going to get his max. And I went into this offseason expecting that Austin was going to get his actual or close to his max. And yet, like, we find out that he like lowballed Austin. And it's like, why? What does that accomplish? You know what you're eventually going to have to pay this guy. And then like with Kuminga, he's like, all right, I will not go above this number. Oh, okay, but why? You need a starting power forward. Starting power forwards make more than you're getting ready to pay him. And he's going to sign somewhere else out of spite. You're like the thing that Kuminga wants is the flexibility to re-enter the market again next year. And you have to pay up for the fact that he isn't going to be able to do that on his terms. So why have this hardline stance? It's just weird. And then also go out and, I don't know, Grimes' contract is a little steep for my liking. Sexton's contract is a little steep for my liking. You don't really negotiate against Danny Ainge for the sake in the Walker Kessler situation. It's like
or if you did, you didn't win very much of that negotiation.
Right. It's just this very like inconsistent approach to the job that I think is just far too often dictated by what keeps his job, which falls in line with other Lakers leadership that we've talked about on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, to Laker Dodger guy's original point, I will say, like, I think that there are probably cases where where any GM would need to give player options or overpay, especially given the like California tax situation in comparison to some of the other teams they're bidding against. I do think sometimes like they might have to overpay a little bit just to sort of offset that. There are scenarios where that's worthwhile. I just don't know how many of them where Rob has just given out player options like candy, where that was actually necessary. Or, you know, if I would have cared enough, had he missed out on the player, had they walked away not getting a player option. If they would have drawn the line and said, I'm not going to sign there if it's team option. There are a lot of guys that he's given player options to where I would have said, okay, don't sign here then.
Yeah. Greenlight Transport 8320. Who cares about Jonathan Kuminga and Jeanie? Who are we going to get as a starting wing? Adu or Connect for Clowney plus seconds? We are desperate. No Kuzma. I like it's like we're desperate, but not that desperate. Like let's. We are desperate. Our house is burning down. Well, I think Kuzma would put water on the wrong house.
I do mean this with all due respect. This is written in the cadence of a Trump tweet. Like Trump would absolutely end a take with no Kuzma !
He is like forever altered how I read stuff.
I read this.
JK and Jeanie. Who are we going to get as a starting wing? Adu or Connect for Clowney plus seconds. We're desperate. No Kuzma. Like.
I mean the starting wing I think is Grimes, right?
What? Wait, no. Grimes is in the backcourt. Luka's one wing.
Okay, so I guess
they
Luka's
need the other wing.
Yeah, well, they need the starting like 4-ish guy, but Luka might just have to guard some 4s.
Sure. We waited so long to get here to be like, Luka, can you play defense?
I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe there's like a hardened level of post defense in there to unlock. You know, it's like that was the one thing everybody would always defend him hard. Yeah, well, but he's a great post up defender. It's like, okay, yeah, if you try to like embarrass him in a contest of strength, he's going to show some pride on defense. Like, congratulations. But maybe that's the solution for Luka is like, you know, you just put him on a high volume post up guy. And, you know, you're just like, hey, like if you want all these clips of you getting, you know, just like your chest gone through, then go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as like, oh, you guys are talking about Noah Clowney? Because I was like thinking, who the hell is Clowney? And it's another, I don't know. But I don't think that there is a solution out there for the starting position. Like, I think the Lakers are probably better off with guys already on their roster than anybody they could acquire with just 2 second rounders.
We've seen that big ball can work. And so like that seems to be the way the NBA is trending again. Like if you have big guys with some level of skill that can play together, and Mamu certainly has some level of skill, you know, like maybe he's the starting 4.
Barbecue chicken. So much barbecue.
Well,
chicken.
but you have Kessler behind him, and he has shown like better defensive utility according to the analytics and like a lot of Raptors people. He is a pretty good defender at the 4. Like he's decent in help, but he's just not like there's not much he can do as a center.
Yeah, this is an epiphany I've had over the course of the summer, because the thing that makes Pete a better podcaster than me is that like when he doesn't like something that the Lakers do, he finds like he'll explain what it would look like if this somehow worked out. Whereas I, as a podcaster, just fall back to this isn't going to work out, you know, and that exchange that you and I had there of like, I don't love Mamu as the starting 4, and you explain how it could possibly work if it did, like what it would look like, and I'm just like, my brain won't let me just like go there, you know? It like not with somebody who I just don't believe in as a starting caliber power forward in Mamu. But
what
you
can
might be
say?
right.
My dad
Hope
raised me right.
All right, That'll do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications for the show and for YouTube so you get those notifications. Today's show is brought to you in here on YouTube by Prize Picks. Use that promo code HMA. And then Harrison, anything that you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Just keep your eyes on SB Nation. We got some big things coming in the next couple of weeks.
Ooh.
That sounded more threatening than I meant it.
Yeah. It felt like it was just like copy and paste. Just like we're doing stuff.
No, we got some stuff coming. It's stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but we have some stuff coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep an eye on SB Nation or else. ...
Yeah, or else.
Have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's. And I'll talk to you tomorrow with Pete, the aforementioned Pete.